just trying to survive, and learn to love along the way, by Foreplay on AO3. Episode 38, Chapter 38, of Exhaustion and Limits. It doesn't take long for the rest of the class to join them, everyone looking exhausted. Izuku's quick to eat his dinner, ready to head to bed after barely sleeping the night before. It seems like most of the others have the same idea, because not even 10 minutes after he settles into his sleeping bag, the rest of the boys join him in their shared room. It doesn't take long for the others to settle down, and aside from a few whispered conversations and a few kids snoring, the room is quiet. So why can't Izuku sleep? He misses the cats, misses the low rumble of his dad speaking in the adjoining room. Instead of the comforting sounds of home, he's stuck in a room where he hardly knows half the boys. He's only really comfortable with a few of them, and the others he's barely spoken since the start of the year. Before he knows it, the sun is rising. Izuku lays in the same position he had been for the whole night, face turned to the wall. He got a few hours of rest, but every time he started to sleep too deeply, some noise woke him up. He's frustratingly tired as he gets dressed, and by the time he makes it out of the room, the majority of the class is waiting outside, ready to start their training. They start off with a morning run, and it's a lot slower than Izuku is used to from their classmates. Dad must have taken into account how exhausted everyone seems to be. They pass by Class 1B, and apart from a small wave from Vlad Sensei, they don't interact. Even Monoma seems to be too tired to spill his usual jabs at everyone. The run passes in a blur, and before he knows it, his dad is assigning each kid a different exercise to help work on their quirk. Izuku gets assigned to Tiger, one of the pussycats, and they start working on how to get his body used to handling more of his quirk. Izuku has a hard time on focusing on everything Tiger is saying, so he just copies his motions and lets his gaze wander, keeping his ears open for new directions. Most of his classmates seem to be doing well, doing exercise that only Dad would have thought of developing their quirk. He spots Hitoshi, training with Magne off in the corner. Her quirk could be a great help in Hitoshi's developing his. Izuku's eyes catches on Kaminari, walking away from his little area. It seems like his dad caught it too, and he makes his way over to the other boy. Try uppering the percentage you're using a little now, but keep punching. Tiger's instruction pull his attention away, and once he's done as he's told, he turns back, but Kaminari and his dad are nowhere to be found. Izuku attempts to refocus on the task at hand, trying not to worry too much about the other boy. It's a hard task, because he likes Kaminari. He's a nice boy who doesn't pry into other people's businesses. Everyone makes fun of him for being stupid, but Izuku knows he isn't. He just has some unfortunate quirk drawbacks. Maybe he'll try to pull him into his friend group. Hitoshi wouldn't mind, and Izuku hopes that Shouta won't either. Finally, they take a break. The work is exhausting, and Izuku feels awful by the time lunch hits. If he has to do the same thing with Tiger for the rest of the day, he might just pass out, which would be super embarrassing. He slowly makes it over to the lunch table, and once he spots Kaminari, he alters his course and decides to sit with him today. "Are you okay, Kaminari?" He gives him a wide-eyed look, certainly not expecting the question. "Yeah, I had a long talk with Aizawa-sensei about my quirk drawbacks. He said that tomorrow morning we could work through some ideas. He has to try and figure it out." Kaminari looks relieved and a little excited that his dad's going to be helping him out. "That's awesome, Kaminari. I'm sure that Aizawa-sensei already has a plan to help you out." Kaminari gives him a funny look at his slip-up, but thankfully doesn't say anything. Hitoshi and Shoto choose that moment to appear, and they both make a continuous effort to include Kaminari in the conversation. He looks confused, but goes along with it instead of questioning it. Lunch is over quickly, and everyone starts heading back to their spots on the field, ready to resume their individual quirk training. Izuku sighs and starts moving towards his previous spot, when a hand grabs his. He jumps and turns around, but relaxes when he sees it's just his dad. "Why don't you train with me this afternoon?" Izuku nods at him, relieved to get away from his training with Tiger. Training with his dad is fun. They get to a more secluded corner, far away enough that people can't hear what they're saying, but close enough that Dad can still keep an eye on the other students. Alright, we got to get you better at this. The words are accompanied by a bunch of fabric being flung at his chest, and he smiles down at the capture weapon. They work hard, his dad showing him a lot of complicated things. He breaks everything down into smaller movements that Izuku knows he could do, but putting them all together is hard. He's frustrated by the end of it, lack of sleep making him impatient and irritable. He stays on the ground after he's tossed aside another time, and glances towards the rest of the class. Most of them are making their way back to the cabin to get some dinner. A sigh draws his attention back to his dad, and he watches as he sits down on the grass next to him. Want to tell me what's wrong? Tired. Did you sleep at all last night? Not really. Just had trouble with it? Too many people. His dad thinks for a minute before speaking up again. Would it help if you slept in my room tonight? He meets his dad's eyes and nods. He stands and reaches a hand down, pulling Izuku up with him. All right. While you go help with dinner, I'll bring your stuff to my room. Thank you. Izuku gives his dad a quick hug, then runs off, hoping that not all of the good jobs for dinner are taken. As it turns out, they are, and Izuku is stuck teaching Ida how to peel potatoes. It's a painful experience, and he's relieved when they can all sit down and enjoy the meal after all their hard work. He's half asleep by the time cleanup is over, so instead of participating in whatever the other kids will be doing, he shuffles over to his dad's room and knocks on the door. Izuku falls asleep quickly, so the only sounds in the room are his son's soft breaths and the scratch of his pen as he makes plans for training tomorrow. The problem with Kaminari's quirk is troublesome. Shouta knew he would have to do something about it eventually, but he didn't think it had become the problem it already has. This class is full of problem children. Izuku had only been asleep for an hour when there was frantic knocking on his door. He rushes to answer it, to make the noise stop so his kid can get some goddamn sleep. He pulls it open to reveal Kirishima, hand still posed to knock. Aizawa-sensei, we lost Midoriya. Well, Shouta hadn't anticipated this when he moved Izuku's things. He raised a brow, but doesn't say anything. Kirishima takes that as a cue to continue. We were getting ready for the bathhouse when a few of us noticed he was gone. I volunteered to come to tell you. We have to find him. Who are these few of you that noticed? He'd like to know who actually pays attention to the surroundings in his class. A good future lesson for those of them that don't. Well, it was me, Shinsou, Todoroki, and Kaminari. Once we said something, the others noticed too. Please, Aizawa-sensei, we have to... He holds up his hand to silence the boy. He's getting loud as he works himself up. Good job. And don't worry about it. I got the problem child. He moves to the side to show Izuku behind him, fast asleep. Kirishima looks revealed, then confused and concerned. He's only close to a few of you, and he has trouble sleeping around a lot of strangers, or noise. It's unfortunate, but we're doing what we can. Kirishima still looks confused, but he accepts the explanation with a nod. Thank you, Aizawa-sensei. The words are quiet, and accompanied by a short bow. Shouta doesn't get the chance to say anything before Kirishima is running off. He closes his door softly, with a small smile. He is far too fond of this year's class. Alright, okay, that was a cute episode. That was a cute episode. Oh, that was adorable. That was a cute episode. I quite enjoyed that episode. Obviously I love that Izuku is now sleeping with Shouta in his room. He will finally get some sleep, some rest. Thank you. Izuku, your dad's already the insomniac. You do not need to follow in his footsteps. Alright, I know the whole saying of like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, but please, fall far, far from that tree. You need your sleep. But, no, I get that. Sometimes I have difficulty sleeping. Not for the same reason as Izuku, clearly because he was uncomfortable with some people because he wasn't as known to those people, but for the most part, I have difficulty sleeping. I have sleeping pills. I have melatonin, and even that sometimes does not help me. Sometimes the only thing that helps me is nothing. Absolutely fucking nothing. So sometimes I only have like 3 to 1 hour of sleep in my system. Like right now, I'm actually running on a full hour of sleep. I don't know how the fuck I managed to get 8 hours of sleep, but I did, and I enjoyed every second of that. But I love that. Hopefully we do that thing where like Kaminari uses his quirk in a different sense, because a lot of the times I see that happen, where Kaminari starts using his quirk in a different sense. Instead of being like a taser gun, he's more of a taser, period, right? Which I love. In different fanfictions, like for example, Shriek did this, a bunch of different other fanfictions also did this, but the one that came to mind first was Shriek. There's also a fanfiction that where Kaminari got rods, like a long pole, right? And he would smack people with it and then activate his quirk and shock the fucking hell out of them. And I absolutely love that too. So maybe we could incorporate some of that. But I love that Izuku's learning the capture weapon. I've always loved fanfictions where Izuku has the capture weapon or Hitoshi has a capture weapon, since canonically Hitoshi has a capture weapon. But I always love the different fanfictions of that. It is always so adorable. I don't have much to say. Let's see. What is the next chapter name? Of Fears and Forestus. Oh, shit. Things come to a head with Bakugou as he and Izuku go into the forest. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Okay. As always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.